This is a fun spot. This is a fun spot.
The goats.
Yes. Yeah.
Preview.
Andrea played with goats this week.
Goats. See
Gratcast.
the theme? The goats.
137 underway. We're back in studio this week.
Minor changes in the studio. We haven't actually done the full. Well, that'll come up in the Discord questions. Yes.
Our landlord let us know it's going to be a few more weeks before the renovations get underway. He's got a couple other things he's got to finish up first. So we set back up in the studio for the time being. We did a little 90-degree shift on the rotation here.
A little tighter.
I think gives us a little more room to work with.
Do you guys see the green outlines? That's how we'll know if it's a little bit tighter.
Don't point those out. They don't see those on the stream.
Do you?
No, they don't.
I'm asking them. Let us know in the comments if you do.
All right, let's get this show underway. Yes, goats.
Yay, Siobhan.
Thank you for joining us, Siobhan.
Those are our neighborhood goats that I get to help and feed sometimes.
So, different time this week. We had to make the rent. We had some Amazon blocks. We literally just got back from the rush hour Amazon block. And here we are, doing the Gratcast, knocking it out. I'm guessing most people this week will be listening or watching it back after the fact, or...
I know we promised it was going to be Emily's Corner this week, but because we had to push it back, she's in another time zone, and...
Emily got bumped again.
And we can't do that to her. We really can't. And also, it's her birthday week.
We got to work
so
around the day job.
So we're not going to have her get sleepy and in trouble at work right before her birthday. No.
We will shout out a happy birthday to Emily, though.
Happy birthday! Cheers!
Andrea's tipping a few back in Emily's honor. So yes, this week was all about getting the rent paid after the early May 10th event and being gone for a week in Buffalo with everything. We had to come back and still pay the rent on time.
It's one of those things most people forget about. Like, not only are you footing part of the bill for the event itself, but you're also missing out on income when you go there, so you're spending money and still losing out on money.
I thought you're saying most people forget about the rent.
No, I wish. You might think I forget about it. I do not. I keep unpleasant things at the back of my mind and try not to talk about it until
there's a big difference between forgetting and ignoring.
There is no ignoring, believe me. It just sits there like a little devil in the back of my head.
So, one of the things that happened this week to make the rent...
What is one of the things that happened?
Amazon blocks. I guess it's two of the things that happened this weekend to make the rent. So, we're going into Friday. We were either going to look at about 40 hours, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the car, driving, to cover the difference in rent, which is a few $100 at that point, or... when you're a few $100 short on rent, what's another $65 and a chance to bet on yourself? So I went and entered into a couple poker tournaments, and I made final tables in both tournaments. One was 55 people at the Commerce Casino, and they paid... No, my fault. There was probably 65 people, and they paid 7 places. We chopped with 6 places. I don't know how many of you guys watching and listening play poker, but chopping as soon as you make the money bubble is worse than a tie. It was horrible.
It doesn't give people a chance to actually work their magic, because most people are waiting till they get to the final table to play how they actually play. Until that point, they've just been holding on and letting other assholes, or donks, as some people call them, just make stupid moves and win bets on just pushing or pure luck. Like, who goes in with a 3-7, has nothing on the flop, nothing on the next card, and on the river, they luck out that they got a 7? But then again, who's playing against them that didn't even have anything that could beat a pair of 7s?
We're not going to dive into poker theory here on all this stuff. So it was six players in the money. 3 of them were only there because they rivered me to stay alive when I had them all in. So I felt pretty confident I could take this table down. But it was like 4:30 on a Friday down on in the south side of LA. Everybody wanted to go home and beat the rush hour traffic. And for me, I wanted to keep playing it out at that point. Now I know that they're all impatient and itching to go home, but I didn't want to be the dick. So I took the split. Then came back Saturday at the Hollywood Park, and that one was a bigger tournament. There was...
You okay?
Yeah. I think there's 75, 80 people in that tournament, and they paid 9 places. I ended up coming in 6. crazy last hand. There's the 9 people left, final table. All of us are in the money, and 4 of us end up in an all-in hand at the same time. I'm last one to act, and I've got the best hand with ace queen, and the other 3 people, because it was a bounty tournament, so everyone was going after the cheap bounty of the low stack, and they all kept hanging themselves out to dry. The only one of the 4 people that was all in that had more chips than I did calls with his stupid 8-7 and hits a 7 on the river, and boom, that's all she wrote. And I got knocked out in 6.
But still, final table, 2 times in a row. That's awesome.
Yeah, very salty finishes, but the rent got paid.
That is very important.
So, Andrea, what did you do this past week to pay the rent?
What did I do this past week to pay the rent? I did Amazon. I did Uber. I looked after the goats.
You helped the goat lady.
I helped the goat lady and the adorable goats. And a couple days when I wasn't supposed to be watching the goats, I was asked to please come over and help feed and water them. And so, yeah, they love me.
Why don't you go cue up that footage that we
you
saw
guys want to see how cute they are?
coming into the intro.
This is a fun spot. This is a fun spot.
It goes.
Exactly where the food
Yes.
is hidden.
Yes.
We're just gonna go right to the source.
Yeah. Mwah. Yes. Yes.
Yes. I
Let me
was
see right here.
literally born with it. It was
Yep. Okay. Good call. Thank you, honey. That'll make it a lot easier. Okay, back it up.
There's the goats.
Yep, those were the goats. They're super sweet.
We've been promising goats for a while. I've been promising slow motion goat footage for a while, so we decided
Yeah,
to make...
that's a weird side eye he's giving right there. Right over your shoulder. You see that? Like that's.
What's this guy doing?
I don't trust it.
Yeah, so we've got some slow motion goat action for you guys. One of the other things that happened this week was actually pretty sweet. Dan Gambino and Code Sox, we've talked a lot about. They've actually got a big event going on right now on Monday night.
Tonight.
Circle the Wagons banquet for the Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame.
And where is that at?
It's at the town ballroom, I think is what it's called in Buffalo. And Chris Berman's in town, and they've got a whole big party and celebration going on.
So you're saying people could just walk up to the door and get tickets right there? In the Buffalo style?
I'm not sure how their tickets went. I'm not going to comment on their tickets. But yesterday, Sunday, Dan's company, Code Sox, was one of the sponsors for the Micah Hyde, one of the Buffalo Bills players, charity softball tournament. And if you want to go cue up that picture, Code Sox actually sponsored the home run derby. So Dan got to issue the...
Josh Allen? I'm doing it. This one!
Dan got to issue the trophy to our QB1.
Any surprise which one Dan is? I'll give you one guess. One guess out of those 3.
I wonder if they did that on purpose on the height there. But Micah Hyde is in the middle. He's one of the Bills' defensive players and a outstanding safety. And the big bad boy on the right there, that's our quarterback, Josh Allen. He's a future Hall of Famer in the making there. And then, I love the way this picture ended up, though, because off to the left, you got the Code Sox banner that was out in center field. Then you've got their logo on the Jumbotron there at the same time the picture's happening. Good, real good stuff for Dan there.
A nice tie-on with Salem's.
Oh, you can't beat... That's the name of the stadium. It's not.
I thought that was
it's
also
not
a
Salem
Code
Field.
sponsor.
No, it's Salem's Hot Dogs. That's the name of the field now. Is Salem Field. So they had the charity softball tournament. Everything went great. And the reason I bring this up and talk about some of the cool stuff Dan's doing is because we have officially partnered with Dan Gambino. Gratwick and Dan Gambino have started a subsidiary company called The Codes Experience. And what that's going to be is a digital app that initially provides augmented reality experiences to local businesses in the Western New York area. But eventually it's going to expand to offer augmented reality services to all sorts of different area code related neighborhoods and regions. And eventually it's going to also be a digital media distribution app that has all sorts of digital media content from those same area codes. And with all of that,
that's incredibly interesting. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome and exciting times with everything we've got going on. Dan's going to handle the business-to-business interactions with the companies. Gratwick's going to handle the customer relations and order fulfillment of the augmented reality stuff. And all of this technology is going to be powered by Twisted Rope, who did a demonstration of their augmented reality stuff for our Night to Inspire event. And everybody loved it so much, Dan's already hit the ground running with selling augmented reality experiences.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Very exciting.
Siobhan, thank you for the congratulations. We're very excited about it, and it's going to be an excellent evolution of our company branded app.
We did have Dan on as a guest, didn't we?
We did, just before the Night to Inspire event.
Oh, so if anyone wants to get to know our new partner a little bit more, you can head into our playlist.
Oh, way to pimp out the archives.
Gratwick Productions, and you can, or on the Gratcast if you'd rather listen to it. Yeah. We have them all labeled by who the special guests were, so you could look him up by his name, Dan Gambino, just like the Mafia group, yeah. Or Codes Sauce.
He may or may not be affiliated with them.
It's just family.
If it helps in
you
negotiations,
have no control over what your family members do and do not do.
Unless you ask them.
Don't ever ask. It's none of your business.
So
That's my new one that we started putting on the Discover requests. All the letters that they keep sending us. Somehow, on something, we put none ya in biz, and now it comes in biz none ya. And yeah, so apparently they have us on 2 different mailing lists now.
Yeah, we've officially retired the
pile's too big. It was overflowing.
Discover card ornament.
Like, isn't that weird? We have like over 31.
Oh, they just keep coming too. All right, moving on, dear.
Speaking of credit cards, what happened this afternoon, Kris?
We're gonna talk about.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about a recent thing that's happened, and let's get a little bit of Kris fever in this talk.
You gotta wake up earlier than Sunday morning if you're gonna try and slip one past me, especially when it comes to the credit card industry. All right, well, yeah.
Tell us a story, Kris. Tell us about your day.
So I got a call this morning from Fresno, California.
Okay.
I don't know anybody in Fresno, California.
All right, I don't know anyone, but
we don't know anybody in Fresno, California.
We are a company and we offer services, so you have to answer when people call.
And right away, the person, well, first it's an automated call because they got the dialer calling you, and they're like, "Oh, would you like to have 0% interest on all of your credit cards? Too good to be true offer from a computer? Absolutely. Get me to a representative as soon as possible." So I hit the 0 just to, hear them out, hear what they have to say. And of course, the person that answers the phone is calling from a redirect from a third world country.
Was that your mom calling us? I don't believe it was, Siobhan. You might have been raised in Fresno, but believe me, this call was not from Fresno.
So this guy's like, "Listen, man, I just need to verify some of your information I'm calling on behalf of MasterCard and Visa." I'm like, "You're both." He's like, yeah, we're the credit card people. We're the both. We're the ones that issue the credit to the banks so the banks can issue it to you. I'm like, "Oh, this sounds legit." So he's like, "Well, in order to get 0% interest on all your credit cards, I need to confirm some information first." And I'm trying to just get the nuts and bolts right away because I knew it was bogus. And I'm like, "Listen, dude, I just want you to tell me how the 0% interest works here and how one of my credit cards is through HSBC Bank. How does HSBC Bank make any money if you get me down to 0% interest on all of this? How's that good for them?" And he's like, well, hang on a second here. I'll explain and everything and all of that. And I'm like, "Second of all, why isn't HSBC calling me to give me the 0% interest here and all that?" He's like, "Well, okay, well, let's take it one card at a time. So what card would you say you use the most and have the highest balance on?" I'm like, "Well, that would probably be the HSBC card." He's like, "Okay, well, just to verify some information here, because it says on our information here that you make all of your credit card payments on time, you pay more than the minimum monthly amount, so you qualify to have reduced interest rates." And I'm like, "All right, well, just give it to me then." He's like, "Oh, no. We gotta verify some information first." I'm like, "Well, if you're the credit card company, you've got all the information already. You called me, so you know who you're calling. If you want to give me lower interest, just lower my interest rate. It's same as you would if you wanted to give me a higher credit limit." I'm like, I can just find out when I get my credit my statement the next month that my interest rate has gone down. No, sir. We've got to verify the information. So what's the expiration date on your card? I gave it to him like 04/23, whatever. And he's like, can you give me the full 16-digit credit card number to go with that? Like, what are you out of your mind? I'm like, how about you read it to me and I'll verify if the numbers are right or not. Oh, sir, I can't do that. You got to read me the whole number. Well, you want me on your cold call to read you the whole number? And he's like, yes, sir. I have to verify the card. I'm like, that's not happening, bro. No way, shape, or form. So then we get into this back and forth where I just keep saying, I'm like, dude, if you want to lower my interest rate, go ahead. And he's like, hang on, let me get the supervisor on the phone. Let me have you talk to the supervisor. So this dude gets on the phone. Of course, he's got the same brutal accent from some third world overseas country that they're calling from. And he's like, listen, man, I know you just talked to this guy, but talk to me. Don't refer to anything you just talked to him. Talk to me straight. And I'm like, all right, well, tell me how you're going to give me 0% interest rate. Give me your credit card number. Like, that's not happening, dude. Just lower my interest rate. So this goes round and round for 5-10 minutes, and I'm putting the screws to him. And finally, he gets all frustrated and hangs up on the phone on me. But
after swearing at you.
Yeah, not before he gets all on the phone, whispering, you cocksucking motherfucker, and hangs up the phone on me. So I call the number back right away, and of course, it doesn't go to any kind of call center. It doesn't go to MasterCard, Visa, which according to them, they were the same company. It doesn't go to any HSBC or any of the other credit cards that we have. It goes to a generic voicemail that has some quick, well, leave a message with the same accent of the person that called. So apparently they're just scamming people, dumb enough to think that somebody's just cold calling them to give them 0% interest on their credit card. Like, I don't know, say 3 to 5% interest. I mean, you're calling people who, like, a lot of our credit cards have 20 to 25% interest rates on them. Not good. So if you called and said, we're going to reduce that to 5 to 10%, sound a lot more believable. The middle people are still going to make money off that. We're getting a huge deal on the interest rate. But no. Tried to sell us the old 0% interest rate. So yeah, that didn't fly.
So everyone beware. Credit card scammers are out and about right now. Did you see that Quest Diagnostics, the place that does like over half of all the medical tests for all of that stuff, the federal and state one, yeah, they just got hacked and millions of people's information, somehow personal, medical, and they're saying somehow credit is involved too. Like, insane. So people are out and about trying to get your info. Everyone be a little more aware. Never say yes when you answer the phone, because they can use that recording of you saying yes as something when they're ordering stuff.
Look out.
Just don't ever say your name and don't say yes. Don't say the word yes.
All right, dear.
Yes.
We got you recorded.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's move on to our main topic of this episode.
What's the main topic today, Kris?
We're going to talk about the blockchain and why it is Hollywood's worst nightmare.
Okay, let's start with the definition of blockchain, because that can be very vague, incredibly vague, and mainly because a lot of people still don't quite understand it.
The blockchain is really, the easiest way to explain it is, it's an internet protocol that is added to as people. So as you contribute to the internet, it's all threaded together in a blockchain where everyone has access to that same information, but they can't previously change information that's been on. So, you know that game where, what are you taking on vacation? I'm taking an orange. Then you say, I'm taking an orange and
A diaper.
Then I would say I'm taking an orange, a diaper, and my cell phone. Then you keep going and adding things to it, and you have to remember all of the things that were previously added to the line.
Okay.
That's blockchain in a nutshell. Except you can't go back and change any of the things that were already added or screwed up to it, and everybody else can see and reference back to what it is. So it creates a much more transparent and permanent state of the internet. So once something's been added to the blockchain, it's there for good. Everyone can see the protocols and see that's been put into the blockchain.
Okay, so how does that affect Hollywood?
Well, that's a very, very good question, dear. And before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, I want to backtrack and say that there's a 2-part blog post from the weekend and last week on the Gratwick Productions website.
Do I have something I need to put?
No, there's
Okay.
nothing to pop up with that. GratwickProductions.com. Go to the blog post. It's right there on that. And the first one is talking about how Buffalo's in the middle of a renaissance, and it's a shame that renaissance hasn't spilled over to the entertainment industry yet, but that can still happen. And then the second blog post is about how blockchain is the key to making that happen, and it also happens to be Hollywood's worst nightmare. So, circling back now, what was your question, dear?
How exactly does blockchain even affect Hollywood? Like, let's not even get into the nightmare part, but how does it have anything to do with Hollywood right now?
The biggest...
At the current state it is.
The biggest sense of where it fits in is digital distribution. The platforms and the...
So when you say digital distribution, just give examples specifically. Right now, what do they have as digital distribution? There's
video on demand.
Netflix?
Anything that's digital
Fandango?
that you...
Amazon, Hulu. Would the new ones, like the Disney Eye or the CBS All Streaming, are those considered blockchain?
Without looking at their code, I'm not sure, but anyone that's creating their new platforms and doing all of that would be out of their minds to not be investing in building that on
Okay,
on
so
a
like
blockchain
Fandango,
platform.
you can rent or you can buy stuff. Is that considered blockchain? Or because... Yeah, just answer that before I make it
I'm not familiar
more...
with Fandango beyond movie tickets, buying movie tickets online. Do they have a digital distribution platform?
We've used it. Fox let us borrow his to watch
I was not aware of that.
whatever that was.
Any movies or media that you consume without a physical copy of it is digital content. Is been distributed to you digitally.
Okay, side note, pause right now.
Oh boy.
iTunes.
What about it?
iTunes is destroying their iPad library thing. You don't get it anymore. It was once yours, and then it will be gone. How is that ownership of something if it just disappears?
The format is no longer in existence.
How is
iTunes
it yours?
Is changing a different format. My assumption is they're most likely moving all of that stuff over to the blockchain network, where you can access it easier, faster, and with better encryption through that blockchain network.
But when they move it over, do you have to pay for anything because you've already paid for it?
I'm not 100% sure, but I would almost guarantee no. If you've already bought it, you've already bought it.
What about the ability to still listen to it? It might still be a song somewhere, but now you have to pay for the platform in which to hear that song. No. Like, instead of having an iPad that works, now it doesn't work because it's not connected to the way it should have been.
Honestly, you're just accessing it through a different portal with a different name. That's...
Okay, that's not what I read.
Moving on to the blockchain, which is the topic of what we're talking about and discussing on the show here. So with the digital distribution, it allows you to create your own branded platforms where you basically have your own internet to add things to the blockchain and have it be there permanently. The encryption is much better. You can't take things and remove things out of the blockchain. You can't copyright things. I'm sure it's
So once it's put in there, someone can't decide that they don't want to have rights to that distribution form? You can't take it out.
You can't steal it from there, no. So you can't...
But the creator can take it out of that.
No.
So Kris makes Just Drive, and Just Drive goes on the blockchain of distribution platform. And later on you decide that you want to do a special release, but you want to take that one down. You can't take it down?
A special release would be a different piece of content.
But if part of your whole, whatever, promotion, say you want to take it down, can you take it down? Say there's a controversy later on, like Kevin Spacey, and we find out something awful happened somewhere, and we are not proud of it.
I'll give you a perfect example.
Okay.
So each blockchain is run and established by whoever set up and created that blockchain.
Okay.
So think of them as different ladders. So you can add another rung to the ladder, and it can go higher and higher and higher. but that ladder is its own ladder. You can't jump from this ladder to that ladder, and if I build a rung on this ladder, I'm not building a rung on everybody else's ladder. You can only access that stuff through that blockchain network, which is why a lot of the digital distribution platforms are using this as the foundation, because it's encompassed in there and it's encrypted better, where people can't just rip the movie off of Netflix and then go put it up on a site like, I don't know, Nvidia. So the way that works is once it's there, it's there. And this has already caused certain problems and stuff. There was a free blockchain network where anyone could contribute to the blockchain and stuff like that, and scumbags were putting child pedophilia on there, and snuff films and stuff like that. And unfortunately,
What is this? The movie 8mm?
it's been it corrupted the whole blockchain, because it's now in there, and they can't do anything about it other than destroy the blockchain and create a new one or whatever.
But you're saying that the group itself that was originally part of that blockchain chose to be morally responsible and just shut down the entire thing. Instead of saying there's always going to be a few bad apples.
I don't
just
know.
Went, no.
I don't know the nuts and bolts of how the
Done it.
case worked out. I'm just familiar with the fact that blockchains that have allowed for public contribution to their blockchain have already fallen susceptible to scumbags.
And so how does one work around that?
Don't allow the public to contribute to your blockchain.
Okay, then how do you choose who gets to contribute? Like in...
You choose. You don't allow other people to contribute to your blockchain.
Okay.
Like, if I'm building a house, Bob can't just come over and start throwing nails into my house unless I allow Bob to put some nails in my house and build a rung. So you have to have permissions and access to the blockchain to be able to do all of that stuff. We're getting a little too nuts and bolts here when we're supposed to be keeping this stuff high level.
Okay.
So the general public can get a better
Let's get
understanding
back
for
on
it
track then.
than trying to break down the individual lines of code here.
I get curious. That's all.
Curiosity is good, but let's keep it to the layman's version so we can slowly introduce people to this stuff and not have people's eyes glossing over.
All right.
So, again, building branded platforms is the cornerstone of the value here on the blockchain network. Creating your own blockchain, better encryption, add your own content into it. You all have direct access to it. Now, where this benefits is it works the same way as an Amazon or an iTunes or Netflix was. You can access the content, streaming, video on demand, purchase it for digital download, and in which case you would then have access to it, reference back to the blockchain, and it pulls it from there. So basically, instead of everyone owning a physical file on their hard drive, I believe the way it works is everyone has access to the blockchain file that's in the blockchain. This is also what helps stop the piracy and stealing of the content. So another big benefit to it is establishing your own blockchain distribution platform offers the same technological advantages as iTunes or Amazon, but at the same time, iTunes, Amazon, and Google Play, these companies all charge 30% commission on anything you sell in those platforms. They're not advertising for you. They're not helping you with production at all. They're not helping you with marketing. They're not helping you with anything. There's a whole bunch of competition on their platform, but you can be on their platform as well, and they take 30%. That's before the sales agents cut. That's before the distribution companies cut that you had to pay to get on there, and all these other things that come with that whole pipeline. You have access to your own blockchain distribution platform. Your audience can access the content freely, quickly, and efficiently, same as they can through any of the traditional major distribution platforms. But you don't have to deal with any of that 30% commission. Gone. Boom. Now, that creates lower price points for the consumers, higher profit margins for the creators. And the beauty, and this is really, dear, where the huge threat comes to Hollywood. One of the biggest issues with Hollywood is transparency, accountability, and secrecy. So the way movies get funded is through comparables to previous movies. This was a similar genre, similar style, actors. This is what the actor did on their previous 5 films that were released. All of these comparables are used to get movies funded. Almost everybody in Hollywood hides their numbers. They hide the actual return on those things. They hide the actual view counts and all that. Try asking Netflix how many views one of your movies got that's on Netflix. They're never going to tell you that information. Even more so, they're never going to make that public. The movie that they had come out a couple months ago.
Bird Box?
No, Bird Box is another one, but the Frontier movie with the military guys that end up going on their own heist. But the movies like these two, Netflix claims they're big successes. There's no ticket sales. There's no purchase receipts. There's none of these done other than how many times people push play. And whether or not Netflix wants to share that information is completely up to them, and they choose not to. Almost everybody in the industry chooses not to.
There is one way to tell with Netflix, but you have to go on the computer. You have to do it on the actual browser window, and you can go to stuff and still see how many people gave reviews. And it gives you the average, kind of like a Google Maps location thing. You can read the reviews. You can see how many stars most people gave it.
How many reviews doesn't tell you how many people watched the movie, though.
No, but when there's a lot of them, I mean, it kind of gives you the overall idea.
That's shooting in the dark as much
Let's
as
just say
else.
when there's only 3 reviews, no one's really watched it.
The point of the matter is there's no accurate number there that any accountant in the history of bean counting is going to rely on any of that information.
True, but that's
for
also one of the
investments.
things everyone liked about Netflix. It was not
So again,
based on
talking
those
about the
numbers.
business side of the entertainment industry, nobody shares their numbers, their stats, their figures, any of this. This is highly guarded information, and it's most often extremely manipulated information. This is why the term Hollywood math exists and creative accounting exists, because the revenue waterfall usually has everybody stealing from everybody else that comes after them in the line, skimming a little bit off of it, creating false receipts, false expenses, all these different things that winds up with a movie like Spinal Tap that was made in the 70s for a couple $100,000, cult classic, sold tons of merchandise, everybody's heard of the movie, and 40 years later, the distributors are still saying that the movie lost money and never turned a profit, and they're not paying royalties to the creators that made the movie. This is what happens when there's no transparency, no accountability, and all the stats are kept in secrecy. So what the blockchain does, pull a curtain back on all of that stuff. Whoop! How many times has somebody watched this movie? That can be seen through the blockchain figures and stats of all of that stuff. How much revenue has this product or thing generated? Everybody has access and can see that by looking at the blockchain coding and all that. You can track down all of the different threads and how many different people have consumed all of this content. But the true beauty is automating the payment processing part. So without blockchain, if somebody buys my movie for $5 on Google Play is going to take their 30% out of it, which comes to around $1.50 or so. Then the other, let's say $3.50 that remains, goes to the distributor. They're going to take their percentage out of it, let's say 10 to 20%, most likely closer to 20%. So now the 350's had another 20% knocked off of it. That brings us down to, let's say, $2.75. And then the sales agent is going to take out their cut on that. If you're lucky, the sales agent's going to take out only 10%. And so now you're down to a little under $2.50 of the original $5. Then any other expenses, investors, anyone else that's got to get paid back, they all get their cuts out of it. And the producer's supposed to distribute that, whether there's royalties to actors, to other producers, other production companies, other investors. All of those people are supposed to have checks dispersed to them by whatever the producer's gotten. And each person along the way, when they get their check every 3 months on quarterlies, is supposed to get some sort of report with that has some sort of numbers that say this is how much was taken out, this is why, this is how much was left, that's your cut. You got to hope all of that stuff has been done honestly. You have to hope your quarterly check shows up every quarter. They don't. You got to hunt them down. You got to chase them down. That was Andrea's official job for a couple years after the Perfect House was completed. And eventually they just stopped sending you the royalty checks.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't...
It just stops if you don't ask.
And if you don't believe you're getting what's owed to you, You need to hire an accountant
And a lawyer.
Yep, and then you have to fight them to go through their books and try and figure it out.
Even though it's in every contract that you have the right to see those books at any time. Once you request it, they're supposed to give it to you within 30 days.
And you
without an argument.
Bet your bottom dollar they're keeping 2 sets of books for just that situation and that reason. So what becomes the ability and the true power and benefit of the blockchain is smart contracts.
Okay, what are smart contracts?
Smart contracts are terms and protocols established from a contract. You and I have a contract. You're going to appear in my movie. I'm going to give you 5% of whatever the movie makes as your royalty split on that. And then we go and create a smart contract into the blockchain that ensures at the point of sale, every single transaction that comes in based on that piece of content, the 5% that is owed to you immediately is transferred to you at the point of sale. So now again, same $5 transaction, 5% is owed to you. So that breaks down to 25 cents per view, per stream. Every single time somebody pays $5, before I see any money, before anyone else sees any money, your 25 cents is sent to you. Anyone else's royalty sent to them. Anyone else's royalty is automatically sent to them. It all happens instantaneously with microtransactions at the point of sale. There's no humans between you and your money anymore.
I like that.
That
keeps
alone,
it fair.
Yeah, that alone completely cleans up Hollywood with the snap of a finger.
That also cuts out quite a few middlemen.
Oh, it cuts them all out. All of them.
Like, I don't know, accountants. Cuts out because you hear about that a lot, about how a lot of celebrities suddenly lost their money or businesses had shady deals, but then the accountant is fired. And you're like, he really does have an awful lot of power that no one can do anything about. Like, once you hire them, if they're shady, you can't do much except get an attorney, and even then, you're not getting your money back.
You're hiring them to advise you on what the proper things are to do with the money. If they're wrong or they're lying to you, you have no way to know. That's why you're relying on them.
They're the ones doing all the actual QuickBooks for you, and if they just don't happen to mention $10,000 because you wanted it deposited, they deposit it somewhere, just not to your bank account, baby.
But ultimately, where this can evolve to is the total elimination of accountants. Accountants can basically become algorithms.
Could that make taxes like, ooh, if they can get that hooked up with the IRS so that it automatically takes out all that crap, that would be sweet.
It's possible. Infrastructure-wise, that's a monumental task.
But wouldn't that be the smartest thing for independent contractors? Like, it starts to kind of like that thing that your parents used to say when you were a kid, 10% of every check goes into your savings. Like, it automatically goes, this is the percentage that would need to be paid in taxes, so it just gets put aside in your 401k, or we call it tax payments.
Theoretically, yes, but you'd have to run all of your money through the same blockchain in order for the blockchain algorithm and smart contract to be implemented and executed.
So you're saying if we had crew or cast who worked with us a lot, kind of like they do with like Billy Madison, companies like that, where they tend to, what is the Salamander one, the boys from Beer Fest? You know what I'm talking about. And yeah,
Super Troopers.
There are a lot of groups that have a lot of the same actors and main crew that all work together. So if you mainly worked with one company, you could actually have almost all your stuff set up that way. So it's only on the occasional side gig that you're like, oh yeah, and here's that other little bit I didn't pay you for. Yeah.
So to summarize, everyone gets their money at the point of sale. The customer gets lower price points. The creators get higher profit margins. And the piracy is reduced almost to the point of non-existent, because sooner or later the criminals are going to kind of have their own technology boost, and eventually they'll be able to figure out how to pirate from blockchain. It's inevitable.
Isn't that part of the encryption?
That's how cops and robbers work. No matter what you encrypt, there's always going to be somebody else that figures out how to uncrypt it.
Or someone who used to work for the encryptors and is now getting paid more.
You just got to stay ahead of the learning curve and continue to adopt and adapt. But all of these intangible benefits are really the Achilles heel of everything that is trouble with the establishment of Hollywood right now. Trying to get information, trying to get numbers, trying to share that information, trying to be accountable to who's getting what royalties. All of this stuff, all the shenanigans is completely handcuffed. You can't do that stuff anymore when it's all running through algorithms. And that's why the blockchain is Hollywood's biggest nightmare.
Woo-woo! Nice.
Yes.
Well, we will discuss that more as things go along further. And if anyone has any questions, specific questions, because as Kris said, there are a lot of questions you can ask about it. We were kind of delving into it, and I asked Kris as if he's an expert because he's been working on it for so long and met so many people who are working in the technology, blockchain, entertainment, library. You were talking about them a couple episodes way back when. If you guys remember library,
LBRY,
library.
Library without the vowels, is an existing digital media distribution platform that is basically, they're going after YouTube, but they're the same as Google Play, Amazon, all of that stuff, and they charge zero commission. You can distribute your content on there right now, same as you would on any of these other platforms, and there's zero commission. The only obstacle in your path is you are going to have to drive all of that traffic to their blockchain.
Because most people don't know about it yet. But isn't that the same thing with every blockchain then?
Well, absolutely.
Like literally that is the exact same hurdle as every blockchain is going to have to come to, which is why how are you going to let people even know you're out there?
Which is why it's in the best interest to create a branded digital media distribution platform. This is... I've said a lot of things over the years that have come to fruition and everything. One of the truest things I called and predicted was iTunes, YouTube, what's the other one that's kind of YouTube, but...
Oh, Vine?
No, but it's
Vimeo.
You
did 8 Second World.
Vimeo.
You were
all of these platforms were always going to be stepping stones on the way to individual branded platforms that you completely control. Because as long as your content is on somebody else's platform, you're completely at their control and mercy. And this is the other great thing about blockchain, is it completely decentralizes distribution to the point that there's no longer censorship. Because here's the reality right now. You might be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month with your crazy YouTube channel that's got 10 million views and subscribers and all of this stuff and that. But if for whatever reason YouTube decides they don't like you anymore, they've got a problem with the type of content you're making, or they think
just enough people to complain about your footage,
they shut down the monetization of your channel and you're dead in the water. You got nobody to complain to. You don't have any rights, any of this. You could cry all you want about your First Amendment rights, but when you're using someone else's platform to access your audience, they control what you say, what you do. If they decide they don't want to hear your voice anymore, that's it. It's completely it. So what libraries tried to set up and do is create a decentralized, uncensored platform for people to use. And their target audience, where they want to first get the adoption, is they're trying to get YouTube creators to come over and start distributing their content on their blockchain platform. And the beauty of it is, so YouTube creators, basically per view on their ad revenue, they're getting fractions of pennies per view. And the people that are making huge amount of money, that adds up. But they're still only getting fractions of pennies per view. Imagine if they could charge somebody a penny per view. They're getting multiple times more money per view than they are off of fractions of a penny per view. But the issue is you can't charge somebody's credit card a penny transaction every time they want to view or anything like that. So this is where cryptocurrency comes in and utility coins come in. So library has library coins. You buy a couple library coins, I don't know, maybe it's $5 for 10 library coins. But it only costs 0.01 library coin, which equals out to a penny or whatever their conversion rate is. And you're using decimal points per view. That's almost nothing to whatever you have in your wallet. And the creator is now getting multiple times more revenue than they were through YouTube because of the higher price point. The only issue is you've got to bring the audience over there rather than just piggybacking off of YouTube's algorithms.
I could see that being worth it more for like a series than a movie. Because a series, you get them coming back and they actually get hooked on your content, as opposed to a movie that once they've seen it, like sometimes you'll watch a movie twice, maybe 3 times if it's really good and people are talking about stuff that you totally missed. But
that's
like a TV, or I guess a series,
That's why this is much more ideal for a brand of content, a production company that creates lots of content, a finance company that finances lots of content and wants all of it distributed through the same portal. A single filmmaker releasing their movie, it doesn't make sense to create a whole blockchain network for that single project or that series.
But I mean, even the idea of going to the blockchain and having to create all that momentum and to get people there, it's almost, as a creator, you want to have a few more things so that when you get the audience there, they're actually giving you as much of their attention as they have before they go on to everyone else's stuff that they see out there.
Yeah, it needs to be a library of content. And this is exactly why you're seeing Disney pull all of their stuff out of Netflix and create their own Disney platform. This is why almost every major distribution company, Warner Brothers, Universal, Fox, all of these companies are pulling out and creating their own digital distribution platforms. We talked about this, I think last week's episode was about the blog post with the lady freaking out with all of the platforms that are coming out. And we talked about why that's a good thing. Go back and watch last week's episode. Hear why that's a good thing that everybody's got all these different digital platforms. And now this week we're talking about the technology behind all of those digital platforms. And combine all of that stuff together, and nobody needs Hollywood anymore. Nobody needs the Hollywood establishment and the gatekeepers and all of these things standing in the way anymore. Build your own audience on your own platform, and you will forever be independent and control your own destiny. Because even library, you're still at the mercy. If library goes out of business or gets shut down, or for whatever reason their cryptocurrency or utility coin crashes, you're SOL on them as well.
Well, that's unhappy.
It's unhappy if you're going to rely on somebody else's platform for your bread and butter and your meal ticket and be at their mercy. It's the digital equivalent of, you can either be an employee for your entire life, or you can be a founder, a boss, a job creator, or a business owner. This is the digital version of being a business owner now, is owning your own store, your own digital store that sells all of your goods and allows people to come and go on it, and nobody can censor you but you.
There you go.
Boom.
Neat.
All right, dear. Let's move on to Discord questions.
Why is that called Rasta horn?
Because it's a Rasta horn.
I don't think that is a Rasta horn.
Well, that's totally a Rasta horn.
Because they have the colors of the Rasta flag?
No, because at Rasta parties, this is the noise that's going on all the time.
He goes to a lot of Rasta parties.
Hey, I held court at Caravana, which is like the Mardi Gras of Rasta parties.
When was that?
I was there.
When was that? Back in the day.
Probably 15 to 20 years ago.
Woo, back in the day.
That makes me an OG at the Rasta parties.
I think you have to go more than one.
Is this stalling because we don't have a lot of Discord questions this week?
Okay. So we're supposed to be undergoing some renovation, Siobhan asked. What are we planning on doing exactly, Kris? I started to talk about it too soon, and now this is our first one. Siobhan
right behind you, the audience here, is a little room full of our landlord's junk and a big pile of wood that he's been telling himself for a lot longer than I've been going to Rasta parties that he's going to do stuff with this old wood. And he's pretty much come to grips with the fact that neither one of those things is going to happen. So in the very near future, all of the junk that is behind you, the audience, is going to get removed from our garage space, which will double our square footage in room to work with. Then once the square footage has been doubled, we're going to get soundproof drywall to re-drywall all the walls so we can soundproof this bad boy.
Does that include the rolling doors?
No, the rolling doors are going to be used as elephant doors so we can bring big stuff on the stage.
Is there going to be a way to
There's going to be a heavy soundproof curtain that will go across the double doors there.
Like a stage curtain, like a fire curtain?
Kind of. It'll dampen
it.
It'll dampen the sound quite a bit. Reduce the echo. And then we're going to decorate the place, get a nice carpet on the floor here, and make it...
We have carpet on the floor. We got a whole giant roll of indoor-outdoor carpeting.
Well-positioned and laid carpet on the floor.
This is beautiful bluish-gray carpeting.
Going to paint the walls, going to put some lighting in, going to get a little more electricity so we can boost up the lighting that happens in here. Actually trying to talk him into putting some Philips Hue lightings in the ceiling So we can change the color tones and all of that with the show and have a lot of cool, weird stuff going on. And
This ain't no discotheque, baby.
it could be once we have to fill a few lights in there. So once that happens, then we're going to start renting out the space. We're going to be doing live podcasts for people. We're going to be producing their podcast shows. They just show up, use the desk, use the space, do their show. We handle all
self-audition space.
Self-auditions. All sorts of different ways that we're going to monetize the space and get a little mini studio going on out of the garage here as low-level income for the company.
Would it be available or possible after the renovations for normal acting space? Like, what if people wanted to make their own, like, little show?
Well...
Not a podcast show.
I was thinking, I've been trying to come up with different ideas, but I would like to do a green screen feature, from complete shot entirely in the garage with 2 or 3 actors. Can't figure out what the premise is yet, but all of it's done on a green screen, just based kind of like a Marvel movie, where the actors never get to see any of the stuff they're interacting, engaging with. They're just in a big green room.
How do you make all the footage that would go on the green screen?
Use stock footage.
Do you have it beforehand or after? How does that work? Is it something like there's a monitor somewhere, like the weathermen can kind of see what they look like on there, so when they look off to the side, they can see where they are and kind of what's going on?
Can be. Kind of like we're looking at the monitor now and we can see the goats behind us.
Giving you side.
Getting that
shade.
Getting that real-time green screen work done.
There you go.
So...
All right, so...
That's what the renovations are.
Those are the renovations, Siobhan. Mm-hmm. And now, Sammy Sam's got a question for us all.
Is this a layered, multi-tiered question?
Oh, this is about
Sammy
something
special?
new, something fun going on.
All right.
Disneyland has now opened.
Disney World.
She said Disneyland. Is anyone going to Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland now that it's open? It's the one here in California.
No.
It is. It's in Anaheim. I just read a bunch of articles about it today.
No.
Oh!
No.
Look it up. Look it up.
Look it up right now. All right.
I am.
It's totally at Disney World. There's no way they put Star Wars Edge.
I'm going to my history.
In Anaheim.
So you even know that I looked it up. Oh, yeah.
No.
This is how we work. Galaxy's Edge. Right there.
Is there 2 of them? Do they both have one?
This opening day at Disneyland, Star Wars Land, and a super fan and his daughter rate the experience, aka Disneyland, Anaheim, California.
All right, now check. Is there a Star Wars Edge in Disney World as well?
This is the one. This is the one.
Okay, well then check real quick and you'll confirm.
You check.
That you're already on the internet there, dear. Check and see if there's a Galaxy's Edge at Disney World, because I think it's absolutely absurd that they would put something that cool at Disneyland.
Are you shitting me? No. Do you remember that they had Harry Potter Land over at Epcot? They had that whole thing for like years before and then they brought it to Universal. They didn't even bring it to Disney.
Yeah, I thought
what
that
kind
was
of
Universal.
BS is that? You think that we got a shared Galaxy's Edge because they had the cool...
Pretty sure Harry Potter Land's always been at Universal.
No!
Yes.
No!
Yes, Harry Potter's
oh my God!
movie.
Everyone help me! When we were in Chicago and visited my Uncle Eddie and Aunt Annie, we stayed there. They had the magazine because they would go visit Epcot. They're people who have the passes, and it was in there saying, "Come see the new thing." Oh my God!
No.
Okay, well, you know what? Galaxy's Edge. Let's see if it says Disney World. Disney World. Is it there? Everything says Disneyland.
Getting some real-time Google searches here.
Nope, it would appear you are wrong. You are wrong, you are wrong, you are wrong.
It's only here...
Only.
That's...
Only here. And now, we're going to do Harry Potter.
That's mind-blowing
just to prove.
Harry Potter was never with Disney.
Harry Potter, Disney World. Harry Potter Ride, Disney World. Harry Potter Land, Disney World. Harry Potter World, Disney World Package. Harry Potter, Disney World.
Just because people search for it doesn't mean that's what it is.
You see this? You see this? You hear this bullshit?
That's how the internet works. It shows you what
the Wizarding World of Harry Potter is a themed area spanning 2 theme parks, Islands of Adventure and Universal Florida.
Universal Florida is
not... The Wizarding World.
Universal Florida is not Disney World.
This is the other one. Either way. This is still Florida. Why do we have to share our shit with Florida? Can't we have something special here in California?
Because Harry Potter was smart and at least put Harry Potter...
Are you going to go to it? You've been chasing around
Harry
your question.
Harry Potter World is
Harry Potter is
at
amazing.
Universal here in Hollywood and Universal Florida. They put it at both.
They were at Orlando for a long time before they came here, which is why they had the butterbeer that started 2 years ago, and everyone was all, "Oh my God, it's finally here!"
Harry Potter World's been here for at least 2 years.
Yes, that's why I said it came 2 years ago.
Yep. See, Kyle knows they put it at both. Now that was Harry Potter World that they put at both, which was smart. Apparently, Andrea's saying they didn't put Star Wars at both.
Was it in Florida first? And no, it is not. They do not have Galaxy's Edge at both.
It makes no sense that Disney didn't put them at both. That's ridiculous. Other than the fact that they're so desperate to get people to go to Disneyland that they only put it there. That's ridiculous. It's like the blockchain. You could release your stuff everywhere else, or you could only release it on the blockchain and make everybody come to your specific spot if they really want to see your content.
Do you think those two parks compete?
What two parks compete?
Disney World and Disneyland. Like, they're both owned by Disney, but do you think there are different CEOs that literally have to battle it out every year over having different numbers and who's more than the other?
Oh, look at that. It was at Hollywood first.
No freaking way.
You're all sorts of backwards
I'm
with your
that.
info.
No way, man.
Oh, come on. You know Kyle. He's
I
on
know
he's
Kyle.
on this he's
I know
on
Kyle.
he's on this stuff. I guarantee he researched that first before he put that in there. Kyle's not going to just throw willy-nilly information out
I gotta
there.
check for myself, though, Kyle. I'm sure you might be right. I don't think Kris is right at all. I'm sure you might be.
Well, there's a surprise.
Yeah, I know.
Even though I called my shot in 2 poker tournaments today, or this weekend, I still don't get the benefit of the doubt. So, no, Sam, I will not be going, even though it's in my backyard. I'll apparently be going a lot sooner than I thought I would. But I'm not going for at least 5 years, because anytime sooner than that, there's not going to be any freaking elbow room in there, and you're going to be standing in mile-long lines. I don't do lines.
I don't want to deal with the payment. That's the part that really bothers me. It's going to be so expensive for the longest time just to go and see that. Yeah. I could actually wait until...
Disney's always expensive. At least now Disneyland will have something to justify that price. Because beforehand, Disneyland was basically a glorified Six Flags. Compared to Disney World,
yeah.
There's a big difference between a land and a world.
Yeah.
Woo.
Soft opening date 2010 in May.
I've been around for a while.
All right. So we have that one,
Strike
2010. 2. No, that's the one in Florida. You shut it, Kris. You don't get to strike anything out.
We were well on pace to wrap this show up under an hour.
Oh, we were so on pace.
You're now dragging with these terrible internet searches.
Universal Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened at Universal Studios in Hollywood in 2016. That's 6 years difference. I was not wrong, because we went to visit Uncle Eddie and Aunt Annie way back in 2011, 2012.
Does Chicago have anything to do with Florida?
That's where I saw the magazine, so I knew that they had it, because they were the ones who went down to Florida all the time. So that's a big difference. That's a 6 year difference. 6 years. See, people in Hollywood were definitely waiting.
What would you say you do here?
Yeah.
Do we have any more Discord questions?
No, done with the Discord questions.
Excellent.
Excellent. Now you may move on.
It's time for the bullet blitzes. Do I have at least a gunshot we could go with here? Gunshot? Any?
No.
Gunshot?
It doesn't matter. What about trying to keep it tight?
All right, this is our bullet blitz noise. All right. I'll go first here. Mm-hmm. So, everybody's been all ranting and raving about Disney again. And Georgia with their abortion bills that they're trying to get passed. Never going to happen, but everyone's freaking out. We got to be outraged, even if something logistically can't happen. But so Disney is posturing and trying to get some buzz, telling everybody that it's not going to be feasible for them to shoot in Georgia anymore if this abortion bill goes through, even though they're shooting in a bunch of third world countries in the Middle East and all that are far worse on human rights than Georgia are. So they come across as totally hypocritical in the whole situation. My question to you, Andrea, is, would the political policies of a given state stop you from accepting a temporary gig in that state?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that's a yes answer. I would say probably not. If it's a temporary gig, whatever the hell they're doing, they're going to do before or after me and once I'm gone anyway. If it's a serious social concern of mine, I might use my free time while I'm there for the gig to get more involved in the community, learn more about both sides of the fence, and then take a position or make an effort in it. But at the end of the day, it's not my community. I don't live there. I'm just passing through. I think it's very hypocritical of anybody to try and dictate what happens in another community. Now, those people in those communities should have their own policies and rules and things that they abide by, which starts with abiding by the federal rules. So that's why on the state level, this stuff's never going to pass through. But everybody wants to posture and pander.
Okay, we're going to get back to this in a second because I have a follow-up question for my bullet blitz to you.
All right. What do you take my notes for?
Because I wrote it into your notes. And if
Oh,
you didn't pay
boy.
attention, that's your own bad for not knowing.
Oh, Kyle has it's outrageous that even Sony and Warner Brothers are paragraph here, Kyle, are looking at pulling out from Georgia as well and not even have production gigs there anymore. Doesn't work for them to affect the community out there and people looking to make a living in there lose their jobs out there.
We're going to get back to that in just a second because I have a follow-up question for Kris, and then we are definitely getting back to this subject.
Oh,
You opened up
I don't
a
think
door.
we have to circle back around on bullet blitzes. These are supposed to be quick tidbits. But no, it is not fair to people losing their jobs because of the policy of the state.
Okay. Part of that is it's not that many people who actually live in the state they're worried about. It's the people they're bringing from other states.
There's a lot of people
who are
in Georgia.
hired as crew, who are hired as talent, who are all going to be coming in
I am
on
totally
temporary
pro-choice.
jobs, who don't want to take the chance of getting in a situation where they're going to be stuck somewhere and be screwed out of a job or the rest of their life.
I'm totally pro-choice.
So it's easier not to just say no to a job in total, so they can't even get the crew to get there.
I will quote a
to
public
fill it
tweet,
out.
or a Republican tweet here. If Disney's employees that are only there temporarily can't make it a couple months without getting an abortion, then they can go to the next state over. Or they can get one when they get back to their home state that clearly has one if they're taking such a hard stance on it.
Hey,
But
if
these-
every Disney employee was guaranteed she wouldn't get hurt or raped or be forced into a situation where she had to make that decision, I'm sure she'd be happy
In a
to go
horrible
to any state where it is
situation like
guaranteed.
that, in a
you
horrible
won't be put in
situation
that
like that,
situation.
they would clearly not be working while they're going through such a traumatic situation, and would be free to return to their home state that has much better policies and rules, and get whatever needs to be done in that state. Like, trying to leverage yourself when you're talking about a bunch of temporary employees that come and go as some sort of wielding sword to get propaganda, again, over a policy that's never going to go into effect, is just grandstanding. Your bullet blitz.
What is a reason you would not live in a state? What would the state have to do to get you to refuse to live there in spite of any incentive?
Well, if I don't like the rules of
No,
the state, I wouldn't go there in the
but
first place.
what specific one? What is your deal breaker? I'm not even crossing that border, let alone flying over that state. Not taking a chance having to land.
Imposing religious rules on the society. Crossing the line between the separation of church and state. That'll get me every time.
Like they would force you to pray when you entered?
No, anything. Well, it's now outlawed that no restaurant can serve meat in this state on Fridays because of religious beliefs, or it is mandated that everybody must go to church, or any other kind of religious impositions that if
What
these people
about
have
when
free
there's
reign, they totally
no
put in place.
drinking on Sundays, no alcohol sales on Sundays because it's a religious day?
Luckily, those are usually counties. Dry
But
counties,
still,
as we
that's
call
a
them in the
state
East
that
Coast.
that allows that.
Well, that's not. It's county law. It's local.
But that's a
It's
religious rule.
It's local. It's not state. It's local. There's
In the state.
the local laws and the state laws and the federal laws are each different tiers of laws. The federal one supersedes the ones below it. The state supersedes the ones below it, and then the local ones just make up whatever the hell they want that falls within the boundaries of the two parenting guidelines above them.
All right. And Kyle, taxes.
Oh, dude. All things getting
Yeah.
equal, once we've got a stable foundation under us, I'm absolutely running to any kind of state that has no state employment taxes.
New Hampshire, aren't they the ones who don't have state taxes?
I know Florida doesn't.
Or income tax. They don't have state income tax.
No state income tax. Florida is one of the biggest ones. That
yeah, I am not gonna. I don't want to have to open the paper and every day see Florida man. No.
We'd be a Florida man. And
I don't want to be Florida man. I'm sorry.
Arizona's another good one. Arizona's like living on the surface of the sun, though, so I'd pass on that. But all you need is really a mailing address.
He blisters fast.
All you need is a mailing address in Florida, and you're good to go. If you got an accountant you can trust yourself. That's
just crazy all in itself.
All right, my bullet blitz. I'm gonna need my notes back here. Get that railgun in. So Jay-Z, one of my creative influences, business influences, one of the brains I most admire out there, has become the first rapper to become a billionaire. Can you name 3 other celebrities that have become a billionaire?
Tupac / Sugar Daddy, or whatever the heck his name is. Are you saying that didn't make enough money yet? That honestly, with that much profits, he hasn't yet?
Who died at 27 years old.
And still has albums being released.
Did not become a billionaire.
But the company in which took all of his money? Okay. Oprah. Oh! Ellen.
I was looking for the ding for you.
And Michael Jordan.
Ellen is not a billionaire.
Oh, she is, baby.
Michael Jordan is a billionaire.
Oprah,
you got a first ding for that. You've got 2.
Cindy Crawford.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Oh, don't you say, oh, Jesus, no. That woman has skincare line. She's got things going on.
So,
Jane Fonda.
No, not even close.
Suzanne Summers.
No. You failed.
Are you trying to tell me Drew Carey?
You struck out. You struck out big time on these. I'll give you a list.
I feel like that was a Drew Carey reference right there.
No, I'll give you a list of a few billionaire celebrities that have become billionaires. Kylie Jenner, George Lucas. Apparently, David freaking Copperfield is a billionaire. Maybe because he made money disappear to a secret island like he was doing to chicks. I don't know, but it seems ridiculous. Steven Spielberg is a billionaire. Oprah Winfrey, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, and Sean Combs. This short list alone, I'd like to point out that out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names, 5 of them are African Americans. How's that for wealth diversity? Our African American celebrities are doing well, becoming billionaires.
That's great. What about the other races? How are the Asians doing? How are the Latinos doing?
Tiger Woods is on the list.
Well, so he can cover what? 3 races? That's not fair.
No, 2.
But Kylie Jenner, what does she count as?
A billionaire, unfortunately.
No, but I mean...
She claims to be a self-made billionaire, which is even better.
I would say her mom made her.
I would say Kim's fat ass made her.
I would say their mom made all of them.
If Kim doesn't do a porno, none of them make anything.
Who told her to release the porno?
Her mom.
Her mom. Like I said, mom made everyone.
All right, so that one's done. Moving on to the next bullet blitz.
It's the final one. This one's my final one. In the spirit of summer, you are invited for a barbecue at a new friend's place. When you get there, you find out it's actually a pool party.
Why'd they misadvertise their party?
Because they didn't know if they wanted everyone in the pool or not. Whatever. They got it cleaned, it's heated up, it's ready to go. Whatever. Some people don't mention that part. Yeah, some stuff, baby. Yeah.
So we're talking about California pool party.
You get there, you find out it's actually a pool party, but you don't have a suit. It's a little frowned upon to go in your boxer shorts. Let's just say that. Little frowned upon. Nobody wants that.
It's a shitty party. This is certainly not a California pool party.
Let's just say
there's a lot less than boxers going on in a California pool party.
He's got 2 options for you that are in your size. Would you rather wear one of those 1920s style swimsuits that's kind of like that wrestling outfit that has the
jumper?
Yeah, the full-on jumper. Or would you go all European and have a banana hammock? A male bikini bottom? You get 2 options, and that is the only ones.
If those are my 2 options,
Only options.
I'm going with the jumper. I need as much surface skin covered as possible, both for your benefit and my benefit.
I love it.
They don't want to see it, and I don't want to burn it.
Oh, I love it. So much fun. Yay. Thank you for that. So now everyone can envision you in that jumper, that 1920s jumper.
String bikini or grandma bathing suit?
If it's a really, really nice day and I'm feeling good about myself, I'll do the string bikini if I'm feeling good about myself. But if I'm not feeling good about myself or I didn't shave my legs because no one told me about that part, which happens. Girls aren't, if we are not warned, you will throw us off the pool party.
Andrea
and then I will totally grandma it up.
Is a win for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Everybody except every other woman there. That's really enjoyable for other women.
Man, I'm jealous.
Nobody likes that. Doesn't make anyone feel good inside.
All right, dear.
All right.
Oh, I think that was the end. Yep. All right. I had no more bullet blitzes.
Yeah.
All right. We're wrapping up this show.
Wrapping it up.
Apologies to Emily for bumping you once again. We're going to get this thing rolling.
We'll get it at the right time.
As soon as Amazon respects the blackout hours that we put on Mondays and stop giving us reserve blocks for Monday evenings.
And no other times, so they know we have to take it.
All week long on the Gratwick Facebook page, we have been posting the interviews from the Night to Inspire event. We also posted the blog posts for what we've been talking about here with the blockchain. Please like, share, subscribe, engage with any of the stuff that you can. And
you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Discord. Go to Discord, join us there. You guys can talk to us more. You can be included in the Discord questions section.
Yeah, you want to get into the private stuff and behind closed doors where
maybe you could talk to Em, you could talk to Siobhan, you could talk to Kyle.
You can present some Discord questions.
Discord
questions.
Yeah. So, any questions, any comments? We did have some things we were all talking about earlier. If you guys have anything you want to say and you weren't able to check us out live, put it in the comments section. We do see those later on. Or check us out next week when we come back on and let us know you want to talk about something we were talking about this week. And why the hell not?
All things go well, and Emily's Corner will be back next week.
That would be great, because Emily's going to have some good news to tell everyone, too. Because it's Emily's birthday this week, everyone. It's a birthday week. It's a birthday week.
The goats say, fuck this shit, we're out.
Be happy, it's your birthday.
The goats have had enough of their appearance on Gratcast.
Side-eye.